What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's out here at the park. Gonna get some hoops in. What's happening with you all? This ain't gonna be a long live, but wanted to connect with you all and everything. What's up, bro? So, I'm gonna talk about what happened yesterday. The FOMC, which actually, to be honest, I got burned yesterday. I got burned. I was anticipating that the Fed was going to come out hawkish. They did not come out as hawkish. And actually, the market has been saying pretty much the market has been running up. Bitcoin's been in a rally. A lot of risk assets has been in the rally, stocks and everything. And I kind of seen that, and usually that happens. And then when the Fed raises interest rates, by the time the market prices in, like really digests like the data and everything, then you will see like the market start to take a dive. So I played some put options yesterday. I was like, okay, the market's gonna run up, and then it's gonna fall. That did not happen. However, I did play some call options on the flip side to hedge, and so the mistake I made there was I sold my call options too early, and it should have been a good about $2,000 day. I ended up losing, I think, 400, a little over 400. So that was my fiasco yesterday. But it's all good. It's a new day, and when you build wealth, like, those losses come, but you know that you can afford those losses. So that's why you stay consistent with putting money away, saving money, being able to invest money, collecting dividends, making your money work for you so that you can take risks like that and be able to, stomach the loss. So the Fed raised the interest rates by 75 basis points, which they brought the target rate up to 2.25 to 2.5%. And that's cool and everything, but it's not. Obviously, it's not positive, and it's not going to fight inflation. Like, it's not going to. You have to bring the rates up past inflation. I mean, inflation's at 9.1%. They bring rates up that high, they're going to break a lot of things in the market. The government isn't going to get as much money in tax receipts from IRA distributions and capital gains taxes and such. So it's going to cause a lot of issues for the market. So, the interest rate still is at about, the federal funds rate is at about 2.5%. And that's kind of where it stands. So the market anticipated that the Fed was going to pivot, and this is how they pivot. This is how they pivoted. Jerome Powell came out and said that he didn't give no forward guidance to what the Fed was going to do. So before, like earlier this year, they were like, hey, we're going to raise it 50 basis points, then we're going to consider another 50 to 75 basis points, and then the next month we're going to consider another 75 basis points, and so on and so forth. So they kept giving forward guidance to what the market was to expect of them. This time, they didn't give forward guidance. They said, we're going to look at the data and then assess in September. Because the next meeting is in September when they address the federal funds rate again. So that showed the market that, okay, well, the Fed is close to done being tightening. They're close to done tightening or raising interest rates. They just started reducing the balance sheet. Who knows how far they get with that? But at least for interest rates, the market is pricing in that the Fed is not going to be able to raise interest rates much more. So that's kind of where it stood yesterday, and the market rallied. If I would have held on to my positions, I would have made quite a bit of money. Obviously, I got my long-term portfolio and everything. I made some good money there. But now I expect commodities to go higher as the Fed is easing back. And then I expect gold to go higher. We saw gold go higher because the strong dollar was making gold go lower. The dollar actually topped out yesterday, topped out and started to turn over and go down. So strong dollar means that it makes it harder for a lot of emerging markets, because they have debt priced in dollars, and so they usually sell a lot of their assets, stocks, real estate, bonds, treasuries in U.S. dollars to be able to stay above water whenever the dollar gets that strong. So the dollar started to turn over. That means that it's a more of a risk-on environment. And then also gold started to, get a bid as well, started to go up quite a bit. Gold and silver. I think silver was up 5% at one point of the day. And, that's because the Fed, the dollar's going down, and the Fed, is going to lose this inflation fight. They're going to have to let inflation run hot. So we saw precious metals start to rally and rebound. So that's kind of my take on, the market right now and what's happening. So we had a neophyte. My bad if I say that wrong. Stacker, what's the next move moving forward? A lot of rhetoric out there, a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking. Where we putting our money right now? You buying anything? I'm just sticking with precious metals and commodities. I am starting to buy some financial stocks such as banks. Those have been getting killed this year, and so I am looking at some of those like U.S. Bank, and there's another stock I'm in called Tro. They do financial investment services worldwide. It's like TRWO. So, I'm kind of looking at some value plays like that, value dividend plays like financials and such. But I'm mostly sticking with commodities and precious metals, things like that. Collect some dividends during this time. And then I do have a risk-on portfolio as far as like with some of the tech stocks like Facebook and such, but that's just in M1 Finance. I'll throw like $50 here and there and just average in. So that's kind of like how I do that. And sometimes if the market's really bloody, then I'll throw like a $50 in or something and just get some of those shares cheaper, partial shares. But that's all I'm doing with that. Obviously, still stacking Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been catching a bid. Bitcoin's close to 24,000. I had sold some Bitcoin at 24,000 recently. It went down to 20,000. I bought more. So, I sold it high and bought it when it was lower so I can get more Bitcoin. Yeah, so, and it depends on how this plays out with recession. If the government announces a recession, I believe that the market's going to tank. Right now they're redefining what a recession is. The Fed, Jerome Powell came out saying that we're not in a recession, even though we had 2 negative quarters of GDP, and that's historically what is identified in a recession. So there's a lot of that speculation too. And, market participants, average people, they believe the government, they believe the Fed. So if the government says it's not a recession, then they're going to believe that. So let the government come out and say there's a recession, and then best believe the market's going down. Commodities included. I believe commodities will bounce back, because they're underinvested in, and they're going to have to bounce back. Otherwise, they take supply offline. They can't continue to drill for supply because they don't have the money, they're not invested in and stuff. So it'll bounce back, but you'll definitely get that initial drawdown if there's an announcement of a recession. So that's kind of the next thing that I'm kind of anticipating. But for right now, it's risk on. So take profits on certain stocks. If you feel like, hey, you got some good profits, don't be afraid to take profits and everything. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing. All right, y'all, I'm gonna go get some hoops in. Get some hoops in real quick. And thoughts on $50 million Texas silver buy. Hey, people know that silver's gonna be short supply at some point, so they definitely going to keep accumulating. And I think David Morgan talks about this a lot, like how much people are buying silver. So yeah, and even the miners are having a hard time with commodity prices so high. It's cost them more to mine, because of the price of oil and everything. So commodities have got to go higher. They got to go higher. So, yep. But all right, y'all. Yeah, I am hooping, man. I'm going to get some hoops in. Health is wealth. So y'all take care. All right, and then also drop a comment if you got a question for Doomberg. I'm going to be interviewing Doomberg next week. So if you got a question for him, drop a comment. Comment your question. All right, y'all. Peace.